They shop at Goodwill. They shop at thrift stores because it's like a virtue signaling type of thing. Like we don't need a lot. They drink cat piss beer constantly. Sometimes they carry around a pool stick, right? And they have the carrying case for the pool stick. The males, in most, I can't even visualize a hipster female. The males have that like Captain Hook mustache. You know what I'm talking about? They also have a briefcase, and inside the briefcase, there's an actual record player that they carry around sometimes. They know all about they know all about fine whiskeys and bourbons. They've got the button-up blues, dark greens, earthen tones, and they button the top button too. They always wear some sort of denim khaki pant. They like motorcycles from 1964. That's important. Some of them actually wear suspenders with their jeans and t-shirt. And if they are wearing jeans, it's dark jeans, but they roll the bottoms up. So you got about 3 inches of blue showing at the bottom. You will find them in the dark recesses of bars that resemble cellars, and they're typically in the darkest corner, and they're smoking a pipe with tobacco. They actually have a pouch of tobacco with them. A lot of them, for some reason, gravitate towards the banjo. And if they are drinking water or any sort of fluid, they like the mason jars with the ball jars. It says ball on the side. You guys know what I'm talking about? They got the comb overs, and then they got this little thing going right here with the straight razor, and they have $1,700 iPhone. I think that pretty much describes what a hipster is.
What the hex is you guys talking about?
What the hex is going on, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello, Cell Pressure. How are you today? Whining and crying and complaining while pressing Cell?
Bill collector at my door.
Good morning, you guys. When Bob's.
Hey guys, I have a joke. A grasshopper walks into the bar, and the bartender says, "Hey, we've got a drink named after you." And the grasshopper says, "Oh, really? You have a drink named Irving?"
Have you heard of the best coin? Ink. It has the greenest logo, and only real Chads hold it.
I bought HEX, but now I want the biggest, greenest logo. Where are all my ink lovers?
With that being said, how about some positive news, guys?
Waiting.
Bro, we had the
Man, I tell you what, it's like 5 years of uptime, right?
Sentiment.
Think about it, 5 years of uptime.
$55.
Damn.
What the hex?
What the hex?
Oh, you guys again. Jesus. Please stop streaming. Stop talking about the hex token.
No.
These internet people, y'all say you got friends, billionaire friends. You had to pay these guys, developers, 150 racks. Here, guys. Anybody good with You know Golang? You know Golang and Wang Tang? Wu-Tang?
Listen up. You didn't lose your money. Now, you have your... Technically, you kind of lost your money.
What the heck?
My favorite thing in the mornings are coffee, sunshine, and...
What the heck?
Oh, and by the way, I'm human.
There's only one Tam, only one Tam.
Edouard. Man, that was so fucking scary, dude.
Okay, I know the word maxi is kind of rough, right? But a lot of us are kind of like hex maxis, right? Listen, I could be tolerant, man. You guys do whatever you want to do, right? I'm like, everything I learned from Richard Hart, right, about crypto worked. And every time I don't follow that, it fails. Right. So, and then but I keep doing it, right? So because I gotta fail. I gotta have some sort of experiment like that, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can now witness Brandon, the supreme leader of the Rags2Riches community, make a complete fool of himself. Enjoy.
What the hex, ladies and gentlemen?
Welcome.
Brandon, we played all your greatest hits in the intro.
Hey, that might have been the best. I forgot about that stream, about the hipsters.
The hipster
That was
one?
brilliant. That surprised me. I was like, is that me? That was kind of cool.
Porch
Forgot about
musing. Yeah, I went through the archives.
Oh, Lord.
welcome back to the show. It's episode 124. Crazy how time flies. And you're bringing the crowd, man. We got 120 people watching live out the gate. How about that? And I know RH Max just started his own situation, of course, streaming over us. You know,
stop crying,
Peter. There used to be some respect for the OG time slots, but it's all out
People
the window.
Used to get pissed off about that. Like, yeah, there's respect, man.
That's
I remember getting DMs from people. Brandon, you can't go live when I go live.
Go live.
No.
So we appreciate the replay, gang. Let me say hi to the chat real quick. We got first Bit Finesse in the house. It says, welcome back. Crypto Butler is here. Wow, Kinetics is tuning in. That's a rare occurrence.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you, brother. Not Good is here. Fallen Comrade in the house. DJing Doggy. When Bob's, good to see you. Hex on Air. Gunnerboat 37. Wow, that's a live crowd out the gate. So how you doing, Brandon? Man, it's been a minute. You've gone a bit quiet lately. Now you're back on the scene with a pocket full of green.
Pocket full of sunshine, baby. Let's go. Yeah, how am I'm good, man. I had to take a sabbatical.
Yes.
Kind of realign myself because it was getting wild on Twitter. And I was getting sucked into the drama too much and it was screwing up my head. So
yeah,
I decided to kind of take a step back and I launched a company and I actually started building. So I've been doing that since August of last year, really. And I've been doing some streams, but just not my regular, 15 times a week like I used to. So
your porch musings. And lately I've seen you streaming from the Waffle House. What is that? What is that all about?
The Waffle House.
The Waffle House.
A rite of passage. No Wi-Fi actually. You won't find Wi-Fi there. But the Waffle House is an incredible American pastime. In fact, if you do visit the States anytime soon, we will definitely go there for sure.
I have, I'm consider myself like a hip hop DJ, so part of the hip hop community, and I listen to a lot of hip hop podcasts and shows and streams and stuff. And there was one guy, I think he's from New York, DJ from New York, and he said if they would open up a Waffle House in New York City, that would be like $4 million turnover per year.
Oh, it would
out the gate. Like, what is that? Is that like a chain, or because we
it's
really
a chain,
don't know?
So it's only breakfast. It's only really breakfast food.
Oh, okay. It's like a Denny's.
It's kind of like a Denny's, but it's like a diner style, old school.
Right.
You walk in, There's like a bar. There's probably 15 seats, and then they have the old school booths all around.
Okay.
And they have like one cook, and they've got like 3 or 4 servers, 2 cooks actually. But yeah, between the hours of 9 a.m. and I'd say about 11 p.m., it's safe to go to the Waffle House. After 11 p.m., you know how that goes. It's like 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
It gets a bit crazy.
You'll get in a fight or you'll get shot. That's
God.
What the Waffle House is. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. Okay. So it's a bit ghetto and a bit,
Well, it's part of American culture. It's very ghetto after 11. It's called all the drunks come out there and they want to eat breakfast food after they drink all night.
Nice.
And then you get in fights. That's just what happens.
Well, it sounds like just the right place for me, I guess.
That's right.
So when we meet up, we'll definitely go there. We got Believe in Yourself, checking in.
Yeah.
What happens at the Waffle House? What is the stays at the No, may often make the evening news. Yeah, that's
very accurate.
What you just said. Tam checking in. Good to see you. First topic I want to touch on with you really is politics, which is always difficult because when it's polarizing but still because in your case, I've observed you even went to one of these fundraisers with your tuxedo. Did you wear the white tuxedo or the
I didn't wear the white this go around. I did well. Maybe one of them did. I went to 2 of them, but yeah, the black one this go around. Yeah.
And with Cabana Crypto, I think, and with Funding Jim. So you went there. And now from that experience, hearing Trump, speak live at the events, and I don't know if you've attended also the Bitcoin conference, which was down in, where was it?
I didn't go to the Bitcoin. I think it was in Texas, was it?
Texas, right. Austin, I think. Yeah. But now, and then we had, of course, this crazy, where he made lots of promises, like I'm going to fire Gary Gensler, as soon as I take office, which kind of happened. Democrats spin it the other way, say that he resigned before he actually had a chance to get fired or something.
Saving face. Yeah.
But whatever, he's out. That's kind of all that maybe matters there. But how are you now feeling after like being a supporter and rooting for him to win the elections, and then that happened. Bitcoin had a crazy run up towards the election, but then kind of stalled. How do you, the first 5-6 months of the presidency, what is your feeling about that? Is it what you expected? Are you a bit critical about it? Are you still 100% behind it? What do you think?
Yeah. I always used to tell people, I said, let's just take Barack Obama, for example. I used to absolutely abhor and hate his policies, but I thought he was a very presidential president. Like he carried himself in a very presidential way.
Well-mannered and can speak.
Very well-mannered.
Yeah.
He could speak very well, and he, held a crowd and people listened to him. He can communicate very well.
Yeah.
Now you have Donald Trump, where I really enjoy his policies, but I don't like the fact that he has no presidential decorum whatsoever. And a lot of the people on the right in the United States, they say they make an excuse and they're like, well, that's just him and that's what he's going to do and this and that. Well, I still don't have to like it. I really wish he was, I grew up in
like a bull in a china shop, right? Sometimes.
And I've got Christian views about how you should carry yourself in the world, and I would love to see that reflect in him. It's sometimes it does, but I think there's a reason that he has to do that, and I think that throughout most of my life, I saw Republicans, people on the right, just get beat up and pushed around by the left, by the media, this and that.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump, he is a direct reflection of that happening. He is the reaction to that.
Yeah, he pushes back.
He pushes back, and he's not going to take crap from anybody. And I think that people really resonate with that because he's finally giving those people a voice. Imagine being on this planet for longer than I have and hearing the same stuff for the past 40 or 50 years in the States. And finally you have a president that doesn't beat around the bush about really loving America.
Yeah.
And he's unapologetic about it. And that's important. So I understand it. I don't like it necessarily. I kind of liken it to, in a way, Richard Hart's marketing techniques as well, which is I don't think that that's him as a person per se. I do think that there's a modicum of ego and things like that in there, but overall I think he cares about people, and I think the marketing side is different than who he is as a person.
The Richard that I know is when towards
He's
the end of
better than you. Don't forget that. Okay.
towards the end of the pandemic years, I happened to catch COVID too, like on the way out when it was almost over. But then I had to get it from somebody, and Richard was the first one to step on Twitter and send me, get well wishes, and that is kind of the, and like advice, take vitamin, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just the gesture, that he cares about people, which is so against this rough persona that you see sometimes and all the outrage marketing stuff and the Red Bull. There's also this Richard Hart, and that's the one who I always stick to, that I know about the people that are supportive and that help him promote all the stuff that we've got going on, that I know that deep down he cares for these people. And
it feels like that. And you have to make a decision. You had to have made a decision a while back to either support the guy or not, and you got to take him at face value. He is who he is, and I'm not going to change that. Nobody is.
No.
So it's not really going to help for me to try to change him. Yeah. There's no point in that. Again, I think I understand some of the angles that he's taking, and I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that he does, but I still support what he's done. Like, his body of work up until this point is tremendous. Yes. I haven't launched an L1. I haven't taken a crypto coin to 10,000x and all these sorts of things. So I support him.
Sorry to interrupt you. Neither has Jack Levin launched an L1.
Oh, dude, I do not like Jack.
But it's so easy. You just it's
just copy paste. No, it's not
Jack is a whole different story. We could have a nice conversation about him, and nothing I would say is something I haven't told him to his face. So,
but circling back to Trump though, real quick to finish this off, because that's a good parallel comparison that you see there with the external behavior and shaking up shit, in the status quo, in the system. Which is needed, which is necessary, but then as you said, the behavior, not necessarily everybody likes that. For us over here in Europe, we were totally shocked with the Zelensky thing, when he came to the White House, and like for him and two others, jumped on him and roughed him up in the White. And for us, I can't speak for Peter here, but for us, Zelensky is like a hero, he's standing up to the Russian aggression. Yes, sure, there can be corruption, and there is, and some of the money has gone missing, and you can criticize all that, but it's still most of the money, but still, he's fighting, I think, the right fight. Even Lindsey Graham, I think he's the governor of Arizona. I think he said about supporting financially the Ukrainian cause. They said Russian soldiers are dying and we don't have to send our own troops. It's the best money we've ever spent, is what he said, and like, that's also a bit crazy talk, but still, that's kind of how Europe also looks at that situation. And then for him to receive a totally different welcome by Trump and the White House, that was a bit shocking to the establishment over here. Yeah.
Did he say thank you at least once? Come on.
Did you see, not only that, did you see what he did to the South African president?
Oh yeah, that was
office?
Similar, but that's just
that was crazy. He turned on the video and like it was like a teacher showing a kid what he's done wrong. For me, it was amazing.
Well, I was floored that happened, but at the same time, you want to talk about pressure. To put on the South African president for the whole world to see that, and it felt like to a lot of people in South Africa and in other places that those stories weren't being heard. And But let's take this back. So from what I understand of what you just said, the Europeans were appalled that actually happened to Zelensky in the Oval Office.
That went through the media here. Like, wow, the world has changed. Because as you said earlier, Obama, that would have never happened. Obama would have rolled out the red carpet, and it would have been a nice dinner, and thank you very much, and not that situation.
And you know what? I think it was even worse after those closed. They were yelling at each other. They were dropping the F-bombs. I think it was amazing.
There's other games, there's other plans and other things that are happening. There's layers to this.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to, maybe I can try to articulate one or two layers down from what you guys saw as to why this is happening. The United States, I think a lot of people on the right view this globalist perspective where everybody in every single country need to work together and pass legislation that is applicable in every single country, regardless of what country you come from. The United States, the people on the right view us as, the United States is special. That's how we view ourselves. And the ideologies and the legislative processes that got us to where we are right now as a country, we feel that those things worked. And we feel like over the past 20 or 30 or 40 years, there are elements that have been kind of chipping away at the foundation of the United States of America. So in terms of Zelensky and the European Union, I think it's pretty much understood that capitalism isn't held in such a high regard as much as it is in the United States. Europe doesn't kind of see that as much. Maybe they do see it and they talk about it being good, but in action and actual practice, it seems like a lot of these states are kind of leaning more and more left. Nation states are leaning more and more left towards that globalist view. United States doesn't want to, the people that I know, they don't want to have any part in that, and they want to reset things. And I think that what Trump did with Zelensky is put a lot of pressure on him economically to have him come to the negotiating table and to have some sort of understanding about what's going to happen. Now, Russia and Putin, I think that Putin is under a whole lot of pressure as well, because he has a lot of people who are ultra nationalists from a Russian perspective, and they want to rebuild the former Soviet Union,
the old empire.
They do. I don't think that Putin is an ultra nationalist. I think he's actually moderate, and I think that there's a lot of pressure.
The most capitalist person you could ever meet. He owns Russia.
Well, there's an authoritarian aspect to what he does, but if you go back to Boris Yeltsin put in a whole lot of reforms in the Russian state to kind of shift away from communism, and Putin got into office after that and took that and rolled with it and really doubled down on those capitalist principles, which over the past 20 years or so, 25 years, Russia is a completely different place than it was even in the 1990s or early 2000s. But he still believes that he believes in nationalism. He believes that Russia's special. He doesn't want the progressive left to creep into his country. And I think that Russia and the United States kind of have that in common. And it seems like right now it's like almost like the enemy of the enemy is my friend. That's kind of what it feels like. Now, do I think that that's the case? I don't know. I'm just observing that that's what it looks like to me. So I think that Trump put a lot of financial pressure by pulling the financial aid from Ukraine in order to get them to actually negotiate. Because if you don't have money to wage a war, then it's just a game of attrition. I've got 2 men, you've got 1 man. We got to kill your 1 man, we win the war. That's the old school think.
But don't you think that they are fully aware of this? Like, if there is no support from the outside, then that's over. That's clear.
They do.
And they don't want that war either. Like, it's eating up their resources and people, and
It is. I think Putin's stuck right now because the ultra nationalist wing of the Russian party, They want full control over Ukraine. They just don't want just Crimea and the eastern regions. They want the whole thing. But I don't think that Putin necessarily wants that. So he's like, if we've sacrificed millions of casualties right now to get to the place where we are, and if I don't have something to show for this after the whole thing's over, then I'm out of power. That's kind of how I view this.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Elon Musk and the DOGE initiative, which in principle I really liked when that came out, because I'm all about, making government more efficient, because I think there is lots of waste, lots of unnecessary,
mostly waste
stuff being funded. And, but we have that in Germany too. There's like a little booklet. There's a report that comes out every year where taxpayers' money has been wasted on stupid shit. Like you would see bridge heads half built with no on-ramps and that sort of thing. And then, or built in the wrong place, but costed millions of dollars. Like there is stuff like that happening all the time. And also I think, who's it? Kamala Harris, I think he said that is such an department like that always existed in the United States, but it was just some guy in an office to watch over the tax spending, but it was never like really publicized and promoted like what they did with Musk. And he went very hard, initially and fired a whole bunch of people. And I kind of like this shake it up approach, but now that has gone away so quick after 3-4 months. Don't you find that disappointing?
I think it's only gone away because Elon has stepped out of that role, but the people that he put there, they're still going through all of the ledgers and finding the money. And actually, if you follow and set on notifications for Doge on Twitter,
yes,
just about every other day they're reporting, hey, we cut off this program, we're saving the American taxpayer $3 billion. Hey, we cut off this program, $500 million. Hey, this program had been funded to the tune of $20 billion over the past 4 years. We've cut that off. We're going to save so it's still happening. It's just that the media isn't, following Elon Musk as much. They're really trying to get Donald Trump and Elon Musk to fight because they knew that was going to break things apart quite a bit and cause a lot of problems, which we saw that happen. But I'm glad that they were able to kind of come together and say, hey guys, like, there's different ways to go about what they want to do. They want to decrease the size and scope of government because they want government out of people's lives. And I think they want to shift back towards an America being a central manufacturer of goods and services for the world. That's the direction that we're going right now. But a lot of that has to do, we have a massive debt that we have got to figure out. And not only the United States, but a lot of the European countries in the Western world have adopted Keynesian economics, which means we don't save, we spend to stimulate the economy. And that's dangerous. And we print money to stimulate the economy. And Donald Trump signaling that we're moving away from that. Now, that's a big problem because take the defense industry, for example, the Boeings and the Lockheed Martins and the Raytheons of the world. They've been in business for so long because the government has been basically giving them an unlimited money for the past 40 years or 50 years. And that scares them. So you're going to get a lot of pushback from the private sector when they see an administration coming in indicating that they're going to cut to the tunes of billions and billions and billions of dollars, all these programs that have been in place for so long. It's like opium. They're addicted to that at this point. So the politicians don't like it because some of these companies are headquartered in their districts, and the senators say, "Oh, you're gonna cut billions of dollars from Lockheed Martin, and that's in my district." Well, I'm not going to stand for that because that's good, hardworking Americans getting paid. Well, yeah, they're getting paid on the government dime and the taxpayers' dime, and where does that money go? What does that money do, really? Yeah. So you're seeing a fundamental shift in terms of the focus of what's important, and that's back towards fiscal responsibility in the United States, decreasing the size and scope of government, and decreasing the burden of taxes on its citizens. Right. And because the U.S. is doing this, we're starting to see different factions in Europe, for example, that are saying, you know what? We kind of like the idea of what the United States is doing. I heard a guy in Parliament in the UK yesterday. He was like, maybe we should make Britain great again. Maybe we should decrease massive amounts of immigration to Britain. Maybe we should decrease the size and scope of government.
Yeah.
Maybe we should focus on manufacturing and GDP in our country instead of printing massive amounts of money to fix these problems with no accountability.
Yeah.
So there's layers to this, and I could keep going different layers.
No, but that's a good perspective because, listening, because we as Hexicans, we're doing this, we have 5 years now. We, listened to a lot of your streams, talk about these things, and we're well trained and conditioned by Wales Only, for example, to read between the lines and not take at face value what is being presented to us in the mainstream media. So, because, this whole riling up Musk against Trump, I believe it still happened. But of course, that was like a big festivity for the media to, try to, get the people to maybe not buy into the idea of DOGE, but to cause confusion and like a fog of war type thing. But if you're saying that is still happening despite him not being the chairman of that association, then it's
a government. It's DOGE is a government department.
Because I think it's needed. It's very important.
Oh yeah. But here the problem that they found too is they would send money to these charities or these organizations overseas, and then those charities and organizations would funnel that money back into campaigns for Democratic leaders in the United States. So they were just washing the money. And in some of these instances. And the other thing is the woke left and the transgender debate and money funneling towards those sorts of organizations, that just doesn't sit right with the population of the right in the United States. And they're trying to fight that too. So I don't want to get too crazy with that, but it's just
Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Happy Pride Month.
It's still June.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's talk Titan X, shall we? Happy Pride Month. No, let's. How can I want to make a philosophical point here about Pulse Chain, but I'm using Titan X for that because usually, this show is very much Hex focused.
No shitcoins, DJ. Okay.
We got Brandon here. He has his own shitcoin over there, so we kind of have to touch on that. Out of courtesy. So we're good hosts, and
Please.
No, but there's like so much overlap between the Titan X community and the Hex and Pulse Chain community, because many of the Titan X builders and many community members came from the Richard Hart following. So even Jake Sharp, he used to be a very strong Richard Hart, supporter, and learned a lot of stuff, I guess, from him. So there is a big overlap. But still, this is a Hex show, and we build our audience, and love the trust by one of the few shows left that stick to the principles of not pushing other chains and other coins to the Hexagon, because we only have a voice here because of the Hex community, and we would not let that fall by the wayside. But still, I want to make a philosophical point, and this goes back to some of your dark tweets that you recently sent out. Let me bring one up here. This is like when you came back on the scene, and which I thought is a brilliant one, where you say, I don't want to be part of the existing crypto culture. Gary Gensler wasn't right about much, but was right about one thing: crypto is absolutely full of fraud and deceit and evil. It attracts some of the worst people in the world. It disgusts me. Playing in the existing culture turns me into a person I don't want to be. So that was like the tweet after a very long break from you. You came back with this, and I think I immediately had to contact you. I was like, "Are you all right? What is going on here, man? Are you is the depression kicking in, or?"
Yeah.
But I can relate. I mean, there is a lot of stuff like that happening. And Marco followed up with one the other day where he also said, a group of guys bands together to be rebellious, acting like they know it all, only to end up scamming each other. Even after you warn them about these kinds of people. I see it in Pulse Chain and Titan X. And that is kind of what I'm observing as well. I mean, and that's now my spin that I want to bring it back to Pulse Chain. If I look at the Titan X hub, which is sort of the go-to, it's also a portfolio tracker for Pulse Chain. You can, even if you don't worry about all the Titan X stuff, you can use that to track your portfolio on Pulse Chain. And Mike Dean has put this one together, and here it lists then all the projects that have been built on top of the Titan X system. Of course, in the beginning, you have the core ones by Jake Sharp, Titan X, X28, Shogun, Hyper Hydra. These are all the core ones. And then the list goes on and on and on. There are so many things that have been built on top of that ecosystem, like Phoenix. That guy is like super smart, super intelligent, very young kid, early 20s, and just a great guy all around. And so many people that have built projects like yours. Yours is up here. You get Morpheus .com. That's here. That's yours, which is kind of Morpheus is. I always freak out when I see this rabbit here. Is that the follow the white rabbit? Is that what's going on? So if you go into here, Morpheus, wow, that's scary. Which is kind of a leverage play on Dragon X. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Correct.
And it buys and burns Titan X, Dragon X, and Dragon X itself is another buy and burn on the core Titan X one. But as Richard once tweeted, you can have all the buy and burning in the world. If nobody is actually buying the stuff, then nothing is really happening. But the point I'm trying to make is, and I'm curious to get your take on that all these people who, there may have been scammers or one or two in here, but in general, I would like to think, and this is just me as an outsider observing, I'm not in this community, but I'm watching what's going on, that these are good people, good ideas, good intentions, but have been totally obliterated with their projects by whales and shady people kind of taking advantage of the amount of work and energy that they put into trying to build something. And that's my point with Pulse Chain. We have the same thing happening here with good and legit projects that are really trying very hard to get something off the ground, but whales are not abusing their responsibility as a whale to protect the chain and support the chain and crushing everything down. That's a very long-winded, but you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So let's start back at the beginning. Let's talk about Jake, right?
Yes.
My first interaction with Jake was, I think I had maybe said a couple words to him a couple times in passing, and then I think I've talked about this on stream where I received a DM from him, and I think it was a virtual assistant that was running his Twitter account, and it was basically lobbying me to join his paid group. And that's
I got that too, but that's an auto message. That's like everybody who joins him gets sent the message.
And that really turned me off. So that was my I think I responded back. Because I had a good conversation directly with him, and then I received that, and that just from a sales perspective, let's say, that didn't sit well with me, and I said I'll never join your paid group or something to that effect. I was tactful. I didn't like bash him. But fast forward, Jake decided to move away from Pulse Chain, and when I interviewed him earlier this year, or maybe late last year.
Yeah.
I said, what made you move away from Pulse Chain? And he felt like there were promises that Richard Hart made about Pulse Chain that didn't come to fruition, and he felt really upset about that. Now, whether or not you agree with that, that's just how he felt. So he made the decision to move to Ethereum and launch his own thing and spend a lot of money doing it. And he was able to rally a community together, some of which were Pulse Chain people that felt the same way as he did. Now, I know that there are Pulse Chain people that feel the same way as he does right now, and they're still in Pulse Chain, but he decided to go do something about it, and he launched Titan X. Now, the difference between Titan X and the difference between Pulse Chain from a community perspective is you don't have anybody in Titan X that's trying to smash other people around them. He rallied builders around Titan X to burn Titan X, and also to be able to community fund these projects to get them off the ground. So all these builders, I think many of them, a majority of them, are very well intentioned. But the fact of the matter is, nothing in Titan X is going to do well, just like nothing in Pulse Chain is going to do well until the markets turn around.
Yeah.
So I tell people, I'm like, I've said this on Twitter too. I said, I like to help people who want to help themselves. And that was one of the biggest differences that I saw. I saw a community of Pulse Chain people who were still kind of hanging on to a lot of the ethos that Richard Hart put out back in the day. But that's a different Richard Hart now. He's not putting out these same messages where it's, hex, only hex. He's talked about other projects that are doing very, very well now, but there's a huge contingent of people that just don't pay attention to his streams and tweets because they've absorbed the old Richard's identity into their own, and they can't change now. They can't fix that. So I liked supporting the Titan X community for that reason, because they supported me, and that was important to me. And I was sure to, I did it completely different. Now let's talk about this, because this is the elephant in the room. What about Texan? What about Texan on Pulse Chain?
I specifically didn't want to ask you about Texan.
But I knew that was in your head, right?
No, it's no, because you made some weird commentary on your Waffle House stream. So I was like, oh, maybe there's some internal beef going on. So let's have these guys sort themselves out, and let's not make this public. But if you can share something, of course, people like to know. Because you started Texan launch before the fork, and there are copies on Pulse Chain then after after it launched.
People
and that's
think,
also not really moving the chart.
Not at all.
If we're
not
honest.
at all. No, it's not at all.
It's working, flawless uptime, but price is moving.
And I was really naive even 4 or 5 years ago, because I didn't realize that launching Texan was going to be such a problem for people in Pulse Chain. I'm thinking in my head, we've got a layer 1. Let's go launch something to support Pulse Chain. And obviously there can be benefits to founders for that, no doubt. But yeah, I'm down. Let's go find a cool cause to launch this with. And Crypto Heartbeat had done a lot of the legwork to get involved with the Texas Nationalist Movement, 501c3 at the time. And I said, this is super cool. We've got an actual outside organization that we're going to distribute the supply to. And people think that I got all that money. Yeah, if people don't remember, you actually went to their website and you donated directly to the TNM. I didn't see a dime of that.
It had to be a stable coin too, I think, right?
Yeah. So it was like we didn't want to put sell pressure on HEX. So we said just put stables in. If you want to donate to these guys and provide a wallet, cool. If not, you don't have to. So that was a huge boon for that organization. I think there was like $1.5 million that went into that. And you're helping a real cause in the real world for that. Not only that, I think Texan still has probably one of the largest wallet counts out of any project on Pulse Chain. Why? It's because we gave away supply to like 15,000 or 12,000 or maybe 18,000. I think it was 18,000 wallets, HEX stakers.
Talking about
just gave it
onboarding.
away.
Yes.
Now, the amount of backlash and the amount of hate and the amount of bashing and the amount of backroom stuff that went down just because we did that. And even I'll call out the Pulse Police, man. They were just horrible to us. And it really left a bad taste in my mouth. And it's super frustrating because now we're at a different point and everybody's cool with it. But all these people, some of these OGs out there, they're launching their own things now. And it's like, okay, Brandon, should I go and do the same thing that they did to me? No, because that doesn't really solve anything. But I'm giving you context and background as to kind of where I am now based on what I learned back then. And I did appreciated the amount of support that I got from the Titan X folks. And they're really, really good people. And a lot of these are Pulse Chain people. And I just didn't feel like we should alienate a whole group of people just because they decided to go do something on their own and take that risk. And it's a lot of money that these people are spending. We were able to build some of these projects for these people too, my company. So I wanted to support the community. I wanted to set up something for Pulse Chain and Titan X folks where they could come to a development team. They knew that they weren't going to get screwed. They could trust that we weren't shady. And we've created that service for both Pulse Chain and Titan X and anybody else out there. And
what do you mean by service? What is this? Buildatech.com. That's the website. Link is also down in the description. Let's say you have a project idea. What kind of services?
Everything. It's turnkey.
Would you guys provide? It's turnkey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Turnkey. So if you have an idea about anything, whether it's utility or it's some type of tokenomics or anything, we'll sit down with you and we'll talk about how we can bring it to market, but how we can bring it to market in a safe way that also we're not going to build something that's going to screw other people, by the way. It's not just like, hey, we're going to give you X amount of money, you build this, and then we turn our heads and whatever you do with that project, that's on you. We don't do that. We actually filter through to make sure that what we're bringing to market, the people who are running it don't have a reasonable opportunity to rug people or screw people. So the reason that we did this is because you ask 5 or 10 people who've gone through the development process how difficult it is to find ethical builders. It's insane, man. You ask 10 people, at least 7 people have gotten screwed. And another big thing that we do, we don't take any sort of token supply or allocation. And that's because that's frustrating. It's like the founders, they'll give token supply out and then that token supply is dumped by the development team. We don't do that. And we just make sure that we build these in the right way. So when you're building a new town or a community, you need a grocery store, you need a construction company, you need a barber shop, you need somebody that's going to take care of HVAC, you need plumbers, and there's all these critical pieces of infrastructure that you need if you want to be able to build and do this the right way. So buildthetech.com, Build the Tech LLC, we are providing that service for people who don't want to get screwed and believe in helping build out Pulse Chain and Titan X.
Okay. And the Rags2Riches YouTube channel, because all of a sudden I saw other people streaming on your channel. Like I was like, what? That's not Brandon. What is that has morphed into a foundation of sorts, right? That if you're a new and upcoming streamer, you can join your crew, or what is the gist behind that?
The idea was we were just marketing to ourselves quite a bit. And I said, what can I do to get the word out about Pulse Chain and things that I like? I said, well, I've got quite a few followers on YouTube. Why don't I give new and upcoming people an opportunity to use my channel, provide really good content, and kind of get that out there. So that went on for maybe like 4 or 5 months. But the bear market, man, just chews people up and spits people out, and and nobody really took to it that much. So I've kind of pivoted back now to I'm going to live stream and teach people, and so we're just kind of ramping that up. I've been live streaming maybe once a week for the past, I don't know, 2 months or so.
Nice. Good to see you back, though. Paladin sends in the super chat here. People are not letting you off the hook, Brandon.
Yeah.
Thank you for the $20. Congrats on your company. You were kind of the face of the Texan token. Any plans to revitalize that effort? Which is a fair question. What is there a future plan, or have you guys fallen out and that needs a whole revamp, or what is
so
the team
Crypto Heartbeat and I
situation?
we no longer work together. And there's there's different reasons for that, but the people don't realize how difficult it is to give non-crypto people tons of crypto and teach them how to use it without them being on Twitter and being on streams every day. It's like some random person in West Texas that knows nothing about cryptocurrency, and you give them a MetaMask wallet and you expect them to be able to connect to a bridge and do all this. Now, the goal was just to get the supply in their hands, and they've got the supply now, but the markets have not stopped tanking since that happened.
Yes.
So there's not any sort of excitement from those folks, from those no coiners.
Yeah.
But we're really hoping that if Pulse Chain continues to do well and the price keeps going up, that those folks will kind of wake up and say, oh, there's actual real value here. Some really cool things can be done. And part of me starting my own development company is kind of taking matters into my own hands and having the ability to be able to revitalize that when the market picks back up. So I would really hope that if you do like Texan, you believe in Texan, there's a whole community out there that has supply, and they're just waiting to see something cool, and hopefully that happens. And if not, then maybe I'll do something there in the future. I can't
have you
have too many
yourself
promises.
moved to Texas in the meantime, or are you still where you've been?
Still in Virginia
Still
here.
in Virginia.
Yep.
In the Old Dominion.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How'd you know that?
From Freddie Quotes, I think.
Oh yeah,
that's,
Freddie.
And one of his lyrics. I said, okay, that's what it's called. Interesting. Always, you see, I'm always learning, always picking up things, man. No, but that's great. Thank you very much for sharing that. Although you kind of danced around my philosophical point that I try to make, is that we are held hostage here by some whales. And I think that's happening in Titan X. It's also happening even stronger in Pulse Chain. And now with pivoting to Richard Hart and what we just learned in the last 24 hours with this big marketing initiative that he may or may not know expectations. He's talking about containers he wants to send out with some electronic devices. People say this could be a hardware wallet. Others say it's a... Peter, what did you say? You said it's a digital postcard,
It's a postcard
right? Yes.
that contains a battery, and if you open it, it starts this carousel music, like
the circus music, to get everybody excited about Pulse Chain. So with all this turning around now, how can we flip the script on these whales that are suppressing the price, Brandon? What can be done? You can't, right? We're stuck.
No, but
what whales? It's all Richard, DJ.
It's all Richard. Yeah. It's not a problem that's exclusive to us. Name me a cryptocurrency that doesn't have whales that don't suppress price in a bear market, right?
Binance Chain.
That don't?
BNB. Okay, they've gone sideways for 2 years almost.
Here's the thing. Let's imagine this, and people in chat can imagine this. Let's say that you own 1% of the supply of some token, and you're in a bear market, and you suffered through a whole bear market. You ran up, and you followed it down, and you started selling. Like, in your mind, are you going to think, you know what? I'm going to be massively benevolent, and I'm not going to sell anything after I went through all that suffering during the last bear market. Like, when you put it that way, your decision processes change a little bit. I can't expect somebody who put a massive amount of risk in the market and now they have outsized return. Can't expect them not to sell. But here's what we do know: there's a point at which when the market starts turning back up, these whales stop selling because they're betting on the top again. So right now we're kind of in that purgatory, in that limbo, where we're kind of flattening out a little bit. It's going to go sideways, but once the market starts going up, people are going to start holding again because they're like, I don't want to sell this. I don't want to sell this $100,000 or $1 million when I could get 5 million if I just hold it for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's a problem that everybody deals with. I don't think we can fix it. We're not going to convince people to do it until the chart starts turning up, in my estimation.
Yeah, and the big marketing might help with that. If it's done right and organized. What do you think, Brandon? What do you think is in the works? What is your? We can only speculate at this point. It's brand new, breaking news, really.
Yeah, potentially some sort of QR code to scan. The batteries, maybe some sort of NFC transfer where you touch your phone or something to that effect, and maybe it's Richard's wallet. Maybe that's what we're doing. It's a QR code to set that up, because we do know, by the way, that he had 7 guys working on that wallet.
It was
4
on the
years ago.
roadmap, sort of. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've been developing it. He
the limit
specifically
orders.
said that. Yeah, well, limit orders, hexsearch.io, and he talked about it. So it's like, is that wallet done now? Probably. Maybe it could be something like that, but I think that we're going to see some sort of value give to hundreds of thousands or millions of people. However that's accomplished, I don't know. But I'd imagine it looks something like that. People get involved with things when they get free value. Now, is it going to be more dumping? Probably. How much are they actually going to get? I don't know. But I do know that we have no clue how much Richard actually has on chain. Here's another point. People are super upset about Ethereum and this and that. Mind you, Richard allegedly was a billionaire when Bitcoin was, $10,000. Okay. Bitcoin is now $100,000.
Yes.
So it's like anything he had back then, it's probably 5x or 10x since then.
Easy. Yeah.
And I hate to even speculate that we have to depend on him. Like, I don't go through that train of thought. I just think we got to go build stuff and take care of stuff on our own.
Yeah.
But he probably has quite a few resources, if he's being honest. Yeah. And at this point, I mean, that's $110,000 almost.
I'm with you there. By the way, we have 450. We're crushing RH Max today. We have 450 people watching live. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Smash the likes, follow up. I'm also in the camp of I don't actually expect him to buy up the chart. That what I'm hearing all the time. We just need him to be present and help with the marketing, and I think it'll go up on its own. Sorry, losing my voice.
I think it will. I've got no doubt that it will. If Ethereum starts moving, Pulse Chain's going to start moving.
Yeah.
I happen to think, and I put this theory out there. I said, what if Richard Hart became the Michael Saylor of Ethereum? So Michael Saylor bought up the Bitcoin and did all that, and he became like a god figure in the Bitcoin community.
Yes.
And he gets tons of free marketing and press because of that. So what do you think is going to happen when Ethereum 2x's, 3x's, 5x's, 10x's over the next 5 or 10 years?
That's the bag right here.
Yeah,
So,
this wallet will be substantial. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars here.
Yeah.
What he's going to do with that, I don't know. But the simple fact that it's there gives speculators a reason to purchase Pulse Chain. It's a huge marketing tool in and of itself, even if it's not used.
Yes.
So there's so much going for Pulse Chain. It's not just some dead L1 with no funding. I mean, it's substantial, and people just don't see that because they're so upset that price is so far down. But everything's down. Price down for everything.
Everything's down. Your other project is Switch.win, which is like a DEX aggregator.
Yeah.
Can you talk before we go? Because we're almost at the end of the show now. We got
Yes.
1 hour in. Thanks for sticking with it, everybody. We covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
But Switch.win, when are you moving that to Pulse Chain? That's what we really care about here.
I don't
that's
know.
still Ethereum only,
Who knows?
right?
Who knows? Well, it's Ethereum now. It's also Base. So we've got a lot of users on Base. We've got a lot of users on Ethereum. And some people speculate that we may be coming to Pulse Chain soon. I don't know.
Those
Who
people
knows?
need to be shown and told about Pulse Chain.
I know. And who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they will this year. Who knows?
But
We'll
what's the tech behind it? Is that like a Piteas.io similar, or is there any specialty to that? Some uniqueness?
Yeah. So what we were able to do with Switch.win on Ethereum was we were able to tap into the Solvers network on CowSwap. So we actually use the Solvers network to be able to find the best prices across cryptocurrency. In fact, I would say 95% of the time, our rates beat everything on Uniswap, which is very nice. When we were building Switch, we found out that Uniswap is just gatekeeping tokens left and right. And if you're not paired with a primary like Ethereum, USDT, USDC, or Wrap Bitcoin, Uniswap won't even show you on their front end. You can't even search for your own token, and it certainly doesn't show liquidity proper, this and that. So
okay.
So it's nice to be able to have an aggregator that taps not only into Uniswap, but it taps into I think 400 DEXs on Ethereum, and then with other liquidity sources like OTCs and stuff, thousands. So I can almost guarantee that you're going to get the best price or one of the best prices on Switch.win if you were to swap on Ethereum or Base. Now, if you notice, if you go to Switch.win in the drop down, we have Wrapped Pulse and we have HEX, EHEX as one of the defaults.
Right.
And that was important for me because a lot of people don't like using the Pulse Chain bridge. So if you're trying to onboard somebody to Pulse Chain, instead of having to send them through 50 steps, wait 30 or 45 minutes, pray to God that MetaMask is going to connect correctly so you can claim the tokens that got bridged over, just send them to Switch.win, drop down to Wrap Pulse, and buy Pulse directly from Uniswap on Ethereum.
Nice.
And then, that's important. So the other big thing is there is speculation that Morpheus is going to benefit somehow from Switch.win in the future. So that's really the key differentiator between maybe Morpheus.
Pure speculation.
Pure speculation. Who knows?
Who knows?
And
how about gas efficiency though? Any do you do gas-free swaps or?
Yeah, you do get gasless swaps with Switch.win on Ethereum. So that, and in some instances, if it's available, if you're swapping enough, then it's able to do that. The solvers pick up that gas fee because there's enough of a surplus to be able to pay for it. So,
right.
So that's it. It's a great product. I think the UI is awesome. I don't know if you could pop that up, Switch.win, and kind of show people.
I have the front page loaded, but I have no wallet connected, so I don't know how far we can go there.
Yeah, so it's a super, super clean front end. It operates very quickly. We just upgraded some servers and things are moving very, very fast. It's simple. We've got a lot of people using it. So if you're on the ETH side, which many people use Ethereum all the time from Pulse Chain because they got to move stuff around and maybe they want to buy ETH to bridge it over, just do it at Switch.win. And then, there's, again, speculation that maybe in the future you'll see Switch on Pulse Chain. So
yes. Do you think the gasless swap can be forked over? Does that work on Pulse Chain?
Not yet. There's the gasless swap, maybe at some point in the future, but there has to be a pretty substantial network of other people that are finding the best prices. And I just don't think we have enough people on Pulse Chain to get into that yet. It will be on Pulse Chain eventually, though. Gasless swaps. So just not yet.
Cool.
Because CalSwap is completely different in how they do business rather than other people. And so, maybe if we did come to Pulse Chain, maybe it would be a flat fee, and maybe it would buy and burn things that we love. And maybe there's not going to be a token whatsoever associated with Switch, and maybe there's just a whole lot of really cool things that might happen on Pulse Chain with Switch.win.
Yeah, but I think CowSwap was sort of as the go-to for the Ethereum side of HEX, but people, why not use Switch.win? Peter, you have any questions?
No, I rest my case.
Lastly, you're a DJ, right?
Yeah.
What is it I'm seeing lately on my feeds? All these ginger-headed people being such great music artists. Is there something in the water there with tall, ginger-headed and bearded men?
Well, they might be imposter gingers in that they dyed their hair. So that's the first thing we need to test.
No, look, there is Scratch Bastard here, right?
Oh yeah, Scratch Bastard. Yeah.
You know him. He's from Toronto, Canada. Absolute crazy turntablist. Let's listen in.
Till the break of dawn. Till the break. Till the break of dawn. Till the break. Till the break.
Respect the skills.
The break of dawn. Break. Break of dawn. Break the dawn. Till the break. Till the break. Till the break of dawn. Till the break. The break. Till the break. The break. Till the break. The break of dawn. Till the break. The break. The break. The break. The break of dawn. I go until the break of dawn. I go till the break of dawn. I go till the break of dawn. I go.
Ooh, dirty.
But dirty ginger right there. And then this other one, I don't know, his name is Brady. He looks like he could be your brother or your cousin or something.
He looks like it, yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. And he just has the crazy video out. He did this with Redman, which totally blew me away. I hope we're not getting canceled for playing this, but
I kick more styles than Bruce
listen
in. But tonight,
look at this
what
guy.
I write tonight is type of funk with the flavor like Mike and Nikes. Hanging out with my niggas. The pack pistol posse keep their fingers on the triggers. I keep the 40 between my lap cooling, rolling down the highway. Blunt system pumps cause it's Friday. Roll over to pick my boys up. We raise a lot of noise cause we can do that black. So get the Bozak jack, be nimble. I do the type of evil that men do, like cursing out my window at a bitch and a friend too. So turn the volume up a notch and watch the boom. Make the speakers pop. That's the funk when it pumps, it makes you rump. Jump. But if you wanna see a fly but frantic, cool romantic, more slicker than my man Rick, you better check the yellow pages under smooth shit, cause Red ain't down for that bullshit. Niggas fucked up by letting me make an album to get on the mic and let my fucking style run. Hey. If you're feeling real high, put your hands up high. Come on. Let's go, Brady. Woo. Hey.
Like Redman had to laugh himself.
Dude, Ginger's got soul, man.
Unbelievable. Look at this guy, like with the country shirt and the boots on, and such a virtuoso on the bass guitar.
I love cultural appropriation, man. It creates such good music. It's great.
Wow.
Dude,
Thanks
you got me
for
pumped
coming
up,
on.
man.
Yeah, check out Brady Watts. That's the latest sensation, the latest YouTube sensation, and he has all these classic hip hop artists, and do their classic from the '90s, but just on the bass guitar or an upright bass, and does his own interpretation of that. It's unbelievably good. And
you got good taste in hip hop, man.
Very talented. Yeah. Well, I'm still on Twitch, still doing my thing. You still owe me the back-to-back.
All right, so I switched from Tractor. So now I'm a virtual
Pioneer.
DJ. I'm a Pioneer virtual DJ. Virtual DJ is very good about being versatile. So I think we can set it up What would you want me to play, man? I don't like. What would you want me to play?
You chicken out the last time, right? Let's
Well,
just put that
I
out
didn't
there.
chicken out. It's just I had Tractor is horrible, man. I had to buy this whole separate box for Tractor, and it's just so I moved away from it. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm in Pioneer World now. I've got a DJI FLX 10.
Right.
So I love that thing. It's great.
With the
I got my
stems.
stems, dude. The stems are nasty. They've got dedicated stem buttons, so I can cut out the highs, mids.
I couldn't DJ without stems anymore. I've
It's so
gotten
good,
so you. I don't even know in the 90s without that how I did that. Actually, this is like incredible.
It's great, man.
We got to set it up again because the last time didn't really work, and you said you're missing a cable or whatever excuse, and so now we have.
It was. I was missing a cable and the box that I didn't want to have to. I was like, dude, am I going to pay $250 for this box? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. But we could do it now, man. I actually think about that all the time. Believe it or not, I do think about it.
Let's set it up. All right, we got 500 people watching. Thank you guys so much, Brandon. Any final words? Shill your stuff. Where can people find? Well, actually, don't follow and like this guy, but still, if people maybe need a website or something, where should they go to get in contact? What's the best?
Yeah, just you can go to buildthetech.com, and that email that you send in the bottom will go directly to me. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube, and Brandon R2R on Twitter. DM me if you got any questions. Let me know. And Switch.win, super good for onboards for Pulse Chain, or if you're playing around on other chains too, and you just don't want anybody to know about it, just go to Switch. Switch there. Switch, don't swap. So we don't use the word swap anymore. We switch.
Exactly. We don't swap. Yeah. We don't follow. We don't like. Don't subscribe.
Boom.
Peter, any last words?
Peter's been remarkably quiet this entire time.
Thanks for sticking it out with us. Really appreciate that.
Just
it's that Pornhub. That's what Peter's been doing this entire time, right?
Yeah, he wasn't actually paying attention.
Maybe.
I saw you biting your bottom lip a couple times. I was kind of curious what's going on over there.
No, but it's great to see you back. I hope you will be joining more streams in the future. And you know, RH Max has the Pulse X conference coming up in middle of July. Maybe
we're going to bring our lead developer on that conference, and you guys can ask him development questions and any sort of things that you wanted to know about development. He'll answer those.
Awesome. Let me check the date real quick. I think it's 14th and 15th of July for that conference. And rumor has it that there is also a What the HEX comedy panel once again.
Love it.
We're just, we're not going that deep usually. We're just trying to bring lighthearted infotainment, with our own spin to it. That's what we're doing.
Dude, that intro video that you played is probably a representation of my 8-hour dreams every night. That's kind of what they look like.
Shout out to the hipsters. All right, it's an outro. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We see you on the next one. Salute. Outro.